Mini has ramped up its EV model lineup with this car, the Aceman. It was the brand's very first EV-only design, a small crossover based on the Mini electric hatch. If you like the idea of a small electric Mini but need a trendy dose of extra practicality, you'll need this film to find out more.
What we have here is an EV-only range that kicks off with the base Aceman E variant propelled by a 184 horsepower front-mounted motor energised by a 42.5 kilowatt-hour battery offering a 192-mile range. 62 miles an hour takes 7.9 seconds en route to 99 miles an hour top speed. The mainstream alternative variant is the Aceman SE variant we're trying here, powered by a 218 HP motor, and that again is front-mounted. Unlike with the Countryman Electric, there's no twin motor all-wheel drive version. This Aceman SE uses a larger 54.2 kilowatt hour battery, hence the longer 251 mile range, and 62 takes 7.1 seconds on the way to 106 miles an hour. At the top of the lineup is the Aceman John Cooper Works, which uses the same battery pack as the SE and basically the same front motor too, although it's in a form there which puts out a more potent 258 horsepower. So the 0 to 62 miles an hour time is reduced to 6.4 seconds en route to 124 miles an hour. There's a 242 mile range there. Like all Minis, the Aceman's quite fun to punt about, and as with the brand's other current models, there is also a choice of experience drive modes, not many of which actually have a great deal to do with driving. You can select from Core, Green, Go-Kart, Personal, Vibrant, Timeless, Balance and Trail. Brake regen control is available, but it's buried in a touchscreen menu rather than being accessible where it should be with paddles behind the steering wheel. As far as the driving experience is concerned, well, the main thing that you're going to have to like in choosing an Aceman is ride quality on the firm side, but that doesn't seem to have put off legions of Mini customers in the past. Arguably, this firm demeanour is all part of the sporty vibe which sets the Aceman apart from the legions of dull-to-drive rivals which clog up this part of the segment. And it's in a completely different league from the rather unconvincing drive dynamics of the larger Countryman electric model that we tried last year. Now, the sharp turning that comes with the feelsome steering rack here is all part of this. So is the tenacious traction and the strong brakes. Your first thought might be that this Aceman is merely a shrunken Mini Countryman. The so-called charismatic simplicity design cues are certainly supposed to suggest that, and to disguise the fact that what we actually have here is a supersized Cooper electric hatch with the same platform and drivetrains, and which roll down the same Chinese production line. As you can see from the 4-metre body length, 354 millimetres shorter than a Countryman. It's quite a bit bigger than a Cooper Electric, 221 mils longer and 54 mils taller. And it looks a more sophisticated thing with short overhangs, flush door handles, and an almost seamless transition between body and glass to optimise aerodynamics. Now, since this car is fundamentally based on the Mini Cooper electric hatch, you wouldn't expect its interior to differ very much from that car. And it doesn't. So, as usual with modern Minis, the cabin's dominated by an ultra-slim, dinner-plate-sized 9.4-inch OLED circular screen that takes care of both the infotainment and drive instruments. Most customers will add a head-up display, and that's viewed through this unusual wheel here with its fabric 6 o'clock lower spoke. The knitted recycled polyester fabric dashboard covering is also recognisable from other modern Minis. It brings what the brand thinks is a homely vibe. Not everyone's going to feel that, but what you can't argue with is a solid sense of quality here. The doors thunk, nothing squeaks or rattles, and the BMW stalks behind this thick-rimmed wheel smartly click about their business. Through the wheel, aside from the head-up display, there's nothing to see apart from a stitched dashboard trim strap, and there are plenty of other interesting design touches scattered around this cabin too, like the floating door pills, the little toggle switches beneath this central screen here, the flecked dash top, and the neat little Harman Kardon door speakers too. A nice finishing touch would have been the potential to slide back and forth the cup holders and the lidded box which sit in this long lower tray between the seats. Maybe that's the job for the facelift. Given that this Aceman is so much shorter than the Countryman, there is a surprising amount of space in the back. Where a 6-foot passenger could just about sit behind a similarly tall driver. You would struggle to fit anyone in the middle back here though, thanks to this kind of high central tunnel that you'd think a front-driven EV really wouldn't need. Space in the rear was clearly prioritised here over boot capacity, as you'll see when we lift the tailgate. That rises to reveal just 300 litres of luggage room, one of the smallest spaces in the segment. Since unlike some rivals, this EV doesn't provide any under-bonnet front space for the charging leads, it's just as well that you can fit at least one of those in this deep well below the floor, even with the Harman Kardon audio upgrade fitted as it is here. Push the adjustable height floor into its lowest position, and this is a deep space, although there's still a high sill to get your stuff over to access it. With everything flattened, up to 1,005 litres of space is available. What about charging? Well, we didn't expect much here because the base Aceman E can only charge at an almost unacceptably feeble rate of 75 kilowatts. Even this bigger battery Aceman SE only manages a maximum of 95 kilowatts. To give you some class perspective there, a Volkswagen ID3 can manage 135 kilowatts or even more. Mini urgently needs to work on this. Even so, a 10 to 80% DC public charge can be completed in either 29 or 31 minutes, depending on the battery size you choose. You'll probably be able to live with that. For AC charging at home, a full battery replenishment for an Aceman E using a typical 7.4 kilowatt garage wallbox needs just over 6 hours. It'd be around 9 hours for this SE version. If your property can sustain an 11 kilowatt wall box with a 3-phase supply, you can reduce those times to 4 hours 15 minutes or 5 hours 30 minutes respectively. You could certainly argue that this is a much more authentic kind of mini crossover than the larger Countryman, and we'd agree. Pretty much all the things that make a little Cooper hatch fun to drive and own carried forward here, and that isn't something that you can say about that larger model. But the downside of that comes with limitations on range, on charging speed and boot space. Plus there's a pretty firm ride here that not everyone is going to like. On the plus side, along with its vibrant personality, the Aceman serves up the nicest looking, the highest quality, the most personalisable cabin in the segment, and that makes it a tempting showroom proposition. And that's one of the reasons why Mini believes the Aceman might one day be its best-selling model. More than any battery-powered Mini model before it, this one most clearly shows the company's future. The adventure awaits.